site. Pull back, isn't it? Put it this. Right back then. Pull back.
A cookery demonstration like no other at the festival, and it's by Dale McIntosh from the Norway Inn at Herrenwervel. So good afternoon, Dale.
Good afternoon.
Can you give us an idea of what you'll be cooking and what will be happening on?
Today we're going to be doing venison, as you can see. We're going to do all, Simon from Cornish Game is going to take the venison apart, and we're going to give out lots of different samples from different cuts as Simon bones down the venison.
Fantastic. So, you know, you're going to really get a bird's eye view of what's going on here, because Simon is the deer stalker who basically supplies the venison for Dale at the Norway Inn. I've never seen anything like it before. I think we're all going to be in for quite an experience here this afternoon. How often do you sort of use deer and venison in your cooking?
I use it every day. I use it every day in the restaurant. We've got a venison burger more for the pub side, and we use it every Sunday on the carvery for the whole haunches that are sent in. And people are a bit scared at the moment. You know, they go for the beef and the pork, and they can have a little slice of venison, and it really is working. It's really taking off.
Well, that's great news. And I know that you'll be getting the opportunity to sample quite a lot here, and there's also some drinks being poured out over there as well. So do hope you can stay for the whole of this demonstration. Roughly how long will it last, Dave?
About 45 minutes. That's what we're going to do. We're going to give you little bits and pieces. Anthony's a manager from the Norway, along with Rod, and they're going to be giving out wines and beer that you can match to this, and Anthony knows all about it. So if you'd like to talk to Anthony, he'll tell you why he's chosen this beer and wine.
Fantastic. Should we get started then? What are you doing first?
First, Simon's going to crack on with the butchery, and we're going to start doing some little tasters, and then I'll finish with the main dish.
Alright then, if I can bring Simon in there just for a moment then. Good afternoon, Simon.
Definitely.
Alright, so you are the deer stalker, as I said, who supplies Dale at the Norway Inn. Is that your, I mean, how did you first get into deer stalking?
Long story, but I actually grew up on the edge of a stately home, and within the park there, it was a deer park, so I had a fascination from them from a very early age. But I've had a lifetime's almost obsession, if you like, with wild food and the understanding of wild food, and obviously the ethics or the ethical use of wild food and the sustainability of using wild food. So whilst wild food has become sort of quite topical now. To me, it's been pretty much a way of life. You know, whether it's been from the oceans, you know, foraging, or indeed here we are now with, you know, with wild deer. Where I am now with my game business and my supply to the likes of Dale and a lot of the other top chefs throughout the county and country, is built not from something I actually intended it to do. It was purely because, you know, I discovered that there was a lot about practice in game in particular, and I wanted to kind of understand that, and I wanted to make sure, or do my best to make sure that everything was successful and push forward. So as I'm butchering down this deer, I'll maybe sort of chat to you a little bit and let you know, you know, what I've kind of found out, and you know, the sort of
Sounds
the
good.
reasons behind it.
All right, now I've not noticed lots of young people in the audience. Is it going to be all right for them?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, this is a simple exercise of, you know, what's now meat, just in maybe a slightly sort of more wholesome form than you've seen it before. So we're just going to simply break it down, and then we're going to give the individual pieces to Dale, and we have a few pre-prepared so that, you know, he can sort of carry on as I'm talking. So it's all it's family friendly.
All right, that's good news then. If you want to get started then,
Okay.
and we'll all be watching exactly what you're doing. So Dale, what are you doing over here at the moment?
This is a part of the muscle that's from the back haunch, and I've pre-done it. I've sealed it off, and it's like a carpaccio. It's sliced as thin as you can. So I'm just going to. It's kind of raw, so it's just going to seal all the bacteria and kill them on the outside. So I'm just going to match it with some beetroot and pickled figs and etc. Just different bits, just so you can try everything we do. And I will finish with the main fillet that's through the middle of the animal. It doesn't do a lot of work, but it's the cream of the muscles in there really.
Fantastic, that sounds really, really good. And Simon, so just explain what you're doing over here at the moment.
Okay, the first thing I'm doing is removing the shoulders. That's a shoulder of venison on the bone. Meat from that can be used for casserole, can be minced for burgers. The roe deer is quite a small deer, and to bone it out and roll it, okay, fine for a couple of people, but it's not a huge amount of meat on there. This whole animal, as you saw it there, weighed 32 pounds. Of that, you'll get around about 15 pounds of meat out of it, just to give you an idea of how small they are. For
Whereabouts did this animal come from?
This one was from the Lostwithiel area of Cornwall. This is a roe deer, one of the smallest species that we have. Realistically, we have 3 species in Cornwall, red roe and fallow, although there are 1 or 2 muntjac. It's not official that there's 1 or 2 muntjac, but there are 1 or 2 muntjac.
Why is it not official?
Well, nobody sort of recorded it to that. And they're only over on the border. The muntjac, which you can see from there, is the smallest of the deer species that we're talking about. The roe is the next one up from there, and actually on the front there you can see that we've got a fallow deer and then a red. They all vary in size from each animal, but that's giving you an idea of what you're looking at. You know, when you're looking at, say, the average haunch of an animal.
There's not really, as far as I can see, any fat on that at all. Is that a sign of really good sort of venison?
Yeah, well, yes and no. You'll find that fallow, a very healthy fallow deer, will actually have fat on the haunches. It depends really on how hard an animal has to work for its food. Now, a roe deer, I mean, a good indication of a roe deer of how healthy that is that it has a nice little bit of fat around its kidneys, and just on the underside. The kidneys from this one have been removed. We're just straight into butchery without any offal on this one. But the venison is very, very lean meat compared with beef and lamb and so forth. Very low in cholesterol as well.
Okay, great stuff. Thank you for the moment there. Okay, Dale, what are you doing at the moment? If you can just talk us through.
Again, this is a different muscle. This is the fillet that's right through the middle, and we're just marrying it up with some different potatoes and different bits. This is another the big fillet that comes from the back leg, like the horse. It's kind of cheaper way to do it, but it's very good. So we're just giving everyone a chance to try the different cuts really, and especially it's different prices. It just helps out really.
Lovely. And I can see Tom, your assistant there,
yeah,
very ably putting them onto. Well, can you just describe what's happening there? What he's putting them?
We've got potato which we've already done off. It's a parmentier potato. We've roasted some pepper. We've got some cranberry toast, beetroot, and pickled figs. So it's kind of marrying, it's getting into autumn obviously all there, and it's putting this meat goes really well with fruit, which is a dish that I'm going to finish with. Tom's helping me now. He's been at Norway a while. He's washing up, and he's moved on and changed his college course because he can see where we're going. And he's moved on to college. He's been there 3 weeks, and so I thought I'd bring him today to give him an insight into what we're doing.
That's great, isn't it? Because more and more young people are choosing to go into cookery, chefing and so on. I mean, and that's what Cornwall really is proud of, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Providing apprenticeships and work for the people of tomorrow, really.
I think down here now for the Cornwall is really coming forward in the food scene. And we need the youngsters to follow us and come through, and I'm passionate about that. That's why I brought him with me today. I've done this a few times before, and bringing Tom for the first time, you know, he's proud to stand here today, and that's why I bring him. He's a good lad.
That's really good. Well done. Keep up the good work then. Yeah. It's all looking lovely over here. I'm not sure whether you can see actually on the screens there, but it looks as though it's pretty much nearly ready over this side. But Simon, just explain what you're doing over here now.
Okay, I'm just taking some of the meat off the outer side of the rib cage. And a larger animal, you know, there's quite a lot of meat on here, and the roe deer, it's quite a small animal, and it's not an awful lot, but it's still, you know, we don't want to waste anything we don't need to waste. The meat's all clean and useful. This is good for sausages and burgers.
Okay, wonderful. And you actually go out as a deer stalker, don't you?
Indeed, yeah. I mean, it is, yeah. And my role in this really is that, you know, we look at what deer need managing for various reasons, and then we selectively cull the ones that need to be culled out. And this is where it becomes really important when you start to meet the food chain. There's a lot of people that actually go out deer stalking, they understand you know, about killing deer, they understand about the legal seasons and so forth, but they don't necessarily have an interest that I have in food and where it ends up. So I'm very selective, even within the legal seasons. I'm very selective about which deer I will cull. If we look into November when the hinds start to come into season, it's not necessarily that we will cull the big hinds straight away, because they'll still be lactating to the young. You know, if the young don't get fed properly, then, you know, they're not going to grow up properly. So there's a little bit more to it than people think. You know, the problem is that people in the early days of deer stalking, they see a deer that's legally there to be culled, and basically they will just shoot anyone.
Okay, that's great. You're doing what looks like a grand job there. Ably assisted by Steve Whittingham, of course, one of the main organisers of the Cornwall Food and Drink Festival. So well done there. Okay, this is all beginning to smell really lovely actually, and I noticed some of the wines and the beers going out there. What are we offering today, or what are you offering today?
Thank you. It's Admiral Ale, it's from St Albans Brewery, and the wine today, I think it's Pinot Noir. But Anthony's done all his homework, he's Googled it all, and he knows all about it, and he really wants to tell everyone.
Oh really? Okay. Right, okay. I shall go down and actually just see what he's up to then for a minute. And while I'm down here, if there's any questions that anybody would like to ask Dale or Simon up there, then do feel free. Right. Maybe at the end then. Oh yeah, okay, let's go over here, sir. What would you like to ask?
How long a deer has been hung? There's no blood or anything.
That's a good question, Simon. Thank you very much. And this gentleman would like to ask how long that deer's been hung, because he mentioned there's no blood or anything coming out of it.
No, there isn't any blood coming out of this one. It's a comparatively small animal. And the answer to your question about how long the deer should be hung leads into a whole... how can I put it? But let's say that the deer doesn't actually need to be hung very long at all, basically until the meat's been set. But what's critical is bleeding the animal at the point of when it's cold. There's different techniques and different bullet placements that can be used, but if an animal is chest shot, it will always bleed out better. It will bleed into its own chest cavity, and we notice that when we hang a deer that's been chest shot, the blood spots stop pretty much straight away once it enters the chiller. You're within hours. When they've been headshot, they never get bled quite so well, and they drip a little bit longer. Now, when you're aging meat, hanging meat, and wanting the meat to set, that's fine. But if you're wanting to age it and put more flavour into it, what you've got to be careful of, that if you start hanging it for too long with blood in it, it's the blood that's actually going off. And people say, oh well, when I had some venison, it was really gamey. Well, it can be from a number of reasons. One, it was hung at the wrong temperature. Two, it had been shot badly. Three, its guts could have been split open during the point of when it was shot, and also when it was actually cleaned, actually growled. It's imperative that when a wild deer is shot, that the whole intestines, if you like, or the growlet we call it, are removed within 20 to 30 minutes. This is absolutely crucial. If they're split during that process, the animal should be discarded. Potentially could carry E. coli, which is why it's not a good idea to buy it from people who think they know what they're doing. They're not licensed. They're not licensed to handle it. They're not licensed to inspect it. You might think you get a bargain, but you're going to feed your family potentially something that's contaminated.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thanks for that.
Did you want my assistant Rob to speed up a little bit?
Right, now, yeah, we've been asked, Rod, could you speed up a little bit, please? We've got lots more here. So
Rod,
that's great.
Rob, come on.
Okay. But I think they're going down ever so well, actually. They have a very, very clean taste, Dale.
Yeah. It's exactly what Simon said, it's the way it's been done, the way lots of people I've tried before, very gamey, and it's just the way it's treated. That's why I work very closely with Simon, because it's absolutely amazing product, and it makes my job easier. I'm serving this, which is a dish I'll finish with. It's a full dish.
And can I just ask what you've been frying this in? Is it olive oil or just cooking oil, or
a little bit of rapeseed oil and unsalted butter, and then that gives me a chance to control the seasoning.
okay? And just a bit of black pepper and salt? Or?
I don't season with black pepper. You've got the flavours in there, so I just give it the sea salt to bring. I want everyone to taste this. That's why I do that.
And I think that's what's coming through, actually. Yeah, it's a very nice, clean, very nice flavour. You actually appreciate the meat.
That's right.
Do you think sometimes then that there is a tendency to swamp flavours with food?
Definitely. What I'm doing now in the restaurant that we've just launched in the other end of the Norway, which is it's more a la carte. The menu changes every day. I speak to the fishmonger every morning, and they tell me what's good and what's not good. Lobsters in the chiller, we display everything, and I simply cook it with some vegetables, a certain potato. We change the potato every day, and then some sort of like a shellfish butter, and let the fish speak. There's very rare that I put parsley sauce and all over it, because I use good produce, and this is what it does. And let them taste it.
Really good. Thank you very much. And Tom's working very fast over here. Okay, I think we're going down ever so well, aren't they?
Oh, absolutely, yes.
Fantastic. Thank you. So we've got some all the local produce there. We've got beetroot and we've got fig. Peppers. Well, you're doing a really good job there putting everything together. And any more questions at the moment, just while we're in this sort of section of the demonstration? Okay.
Should we think of a question? I think we've got some prizes.
Ooh, yes.
Yeah.
We've got some mugs to give away, as Dale said. So if you can answer the next question, you'll get one of our mugs.
Let me think. Does anybody know when our new famous carvery runs, the opening times at the Norway?
Okay, so the opening times of the new carvery at the Norway. Perhaps you've been there. Has it opened already?
It's open, but we've just sort of gone again, and we've started again. Haunch of venison, 4 river beef. Last week we had half a wild mallard, 7 vegetables, duck fat potatoes, and it's proving really popular.
Okay, fantastic. So we just need the opening times then of the new carvery. And I think we'll give you about a minute to think about it. If not, we'll go on to a different question.
Yeah.
We'll get the answer and then we'll go on to another question. Lovely, thank you.
Probably from 12 o'clock to about 2 o'clock, it's back.
You say 12 o'clock, do you?
Start at 12, I'd have thought.
You think, what's your name, sir?
Martin.
Brian.
Martin.
Mike.
Martin.
Martin, yes, Martin, you're here every year as well, aren't you? Yeah, hello again. But, all right, then I think we can probably give Martin a mug.
Yeah, we could buy a mug, yeah.
You can choose. You can either have...
I'll have a chicken.
The chicken.
And Simon, have you got a question? You got a question for a giveaway mug?
Okay. Does anybody know?
Congrats.
When the season for red hinds starts, that's the female of the red deer.
Okay, does anybody know when the season for the red hinds starts? That's a female deer. Okay.
Female of the red deer.
Female of the red deer. Okay, you can have about a minute or so to think about it.
I don't even think I know that one.
No, I certainly don't know it, but these are quite difficult questions, aren't they?
It's only a month's one.
Well, what it leads into is the fact that do you know when you should be buying when you get your deer legally? That's where I'm leading with it.
Okay. So
He's not leading when it wants servicing or anything.
One thing I will just, when you're having to think about that, one thing I will say, if I may, is that there's times to avoid certain deer whilst it might be legal. I mean, we're coming to up to the time now when the red stags will start to mate, and during that season, during that period of time, they're full of testosterone. They don't feed for a month, and they wallow in what we call wallows that are made from mud and their own. How can I say? Waste product. Yes, very good, Steve. Thank you. So common sense would say, if you knew that, then you wouldn't entertain eating it because it's in its lowest body condition, for eating. So there's a lot of considerations really when you're trying to sort of source meat for the top chefs. All these things are being considered during the culls that are necessary for me to do each year.
Okay, lovely, thank you. Any answers then to that question? When is the beginning of the season to eat deer, really? Oh, yes. April. Simon, April. Is it April? No. But I think we can give you a mug anyway, to be honest. Yes, sir.
A good try.
October.
There's another one there.
Okay, the 1st of June. Simon, the 1st of June, is that?
No, there's not even any months left, is there?
All right, can we have the answer?
Okay, 1st of November is what we class as the main deer season when it starts, when nearly all the animals, all the deer are in season. So the 1st of November, so generally when you think of your deer, it is an autumn coming winter thing, runs through your main deer season, your main venison season will run through November through until the end of March. That's the main season.
Lovely stuff, thank you very much.
So what's perfect about that is now you should start really thinking of tasting it, then you'll fall in love with it, and then you'll be buying it all winter.
Great stuff. Okay, thank you Simon for that. Dale, can you just talk us through what you're doing over there?
We're still just the main cuts. We're just trying to give everyone a taste really. I'm just frying off a little bit more for Tom, and then I'll move over onto my main dish.
All right, that's lovely. And I wonder if I could ask Anthony. Anthony is the gentleman just giving out the drinks over here, doing sterling work. Anthony, can I ask you, just for a moment, you've apparently done quite a lot of research on what is the best sort of wine to actually drink with the venison.
Well, what we've done is we wanted to match a wine, we wanted to match an ale, because obviously, as you can probably already guess from Simon, there's a real science to this and his passion for it. So we thought it was only right that we got together with the right drinks. Now, venison's wild. Everybody's perception of it is wild, and perhaps even sometimes a wrong perception of the taste of it. And as we've already found out, that the delicate taste of it is actually quite surprising. So what we chose was the Pinot Noir, which you've had was a sort of hard body. 14%, quite light really, although it's sort of a reasonable ABV. It's got that sort of wild fruit undertone to it, which kind of complements the wildness of the venison. And as we did with our Admiral's Ale, it's an Oscar award-winning Admiral's Ale, let me tell you. Nice 5%, so it's a really robust beer, full body. And again, with what comes out of that, which is the roasted biscuits and the rosewood taste, and that spiciness at the end of it, I think it really brings out that lovely, delicate venison taste.
Lovely, you mentioned kind of spiciness there as well, and that's just what Dale was saying about the venison. It's got that real kind of autumnal kind of feel about food and drink at the moment.
Absolutely, and I think with the strawberryness and it's just the whole dancing on your taste buds. It's a really well-used phrase, I think.
bit occupied at the
Thank you
moment.
very much. Thank you for that. Lovely. Any more questions just while I'm down here at the moment?
Thank you very much.
What is the comparative price of venison compared with, say, beef, a similar cut, say fillet or whatever?
If you're looking at the true fillet in a piece of beef is say size. The true fillets in the deer, if you bear with me 1 second, I'll show you, is really quite small. That's an untrimmed true fillet from that roe deer. So, you know, you're going to pay in your butcher somewhere in the region of £31, £32 a kilo for fillet, but, you know, with that, this is often used for carpaccio and you know, very refined dishes. What you've got to compare and probably look at a little bit more is things like your loins. But your venison, without a doubt, wild venison, true wild venison, not park venison that someone's badged up to be wild venison, will always be more expensive.
And the difference there from that to that is I'm using a loin now, which is the most expensive part, which is, as you can see, it's just pure meat. It runs right through the centre of the animals, and you'll get a chance to taste it in about 10 minutes.
That's great. So can I ask you, Dale, roughly then, and I'm sure I don't know whether you get involved in pricing at your restaurant, but roughly how much would it cost to eat something like that at the Norway Inn?
Yeah, it all depends on how we do it, what we do it with, but the restaurant prices are around, for a main dish. You can go for beef, fillet beef, and you're going to pay around the £20 mark. It's very similar. It might be slightly smaller because game is very rich. I will be doing a sauce to complement it, which is chocolate. The bitter taste of chocolate works really well with venison, so it's a lot richer. So the size of the meat that you get is slightly smaller, but it's all you need.
Okay, interesting. Thank you very much. Venison chocolate sauce. Very interesting. I'm sure it's got a different name than that.
Venison works, if you like wild food, venison works tremendously well with any berries or fruit. It really, really works well. And now again, fantastic time of year for that.
All right, Dale, if you wouldn't mind just talking us through then what you're planning to do for the next stage of this demonstration.
This one's just going to be, I'm just going to give you a flavour of chocolate so Tom can send out. And then what I'll be doing is I'm going to pair the fillet with a Braven apple, blackberries, and finish it with some edible flowers. Which it just gives, it's chef fancy stuff really, but it gives it's a garnish, and it just finishes the garnish really, so.
Okay, the edible flowers, do you know, I've never seen anything like that. I don't know whether you can see on the camera, but they really are amazing.
These ones are
oh, I see.
nasturtiums,
Nasturtiums.
and these ones are borage.
Right. Is it becoming more popular to use?
You only need, it's your garnish again, you only need a little piece, and the flavour is quite amazing. So.
Fantastic. And you've got some blackberries there. They're giant blackberries. I don't think I've ever seen blackberries as big as that. But presumably all these are local as well, aren't they?
Everything we've got today, yeah.
And that's such a massive part of this festival and just Cornish cooking in general, the fact that most chefs now use just local produce, because we're so lucky, aren't we, here, that we've got everything on our doorstep, really.
To get
okay, so Tom is still doing sterling work over here. So I think there'll still be some more samples if you've just joined us here at the Cornwall Food and Drink Festival. Lots of samples coming around, still more wine I think to come. So don't feel as if you've just come here and you've missed it all, because we're probably about halfway through the demonstration now. If you have just joined us though, you've missed Simon doing a brilliant job on filleting and literally taking apart a deer right in front of your eyes with no mess whatsoever. Very, very efficiently done. How long have you actually been a deer stalker, Simon?
Probably since I was about 18, to be fair, but you know, periodically more or less, if you see what I mean, not full time since that. I mean, I've travelled the world, you know, as I said before, you know, studying and understanding wild food. but I also have a passion for the deer, and again, I came into it full time, almost by accident, really, because I wanted to understand. The big question was why people didn't like venison. I wanted to understand why. I then looked into why do people farm venison? Well, they try to get consistency out of it, but it's very possible to get consistency from wild venison if you just understand them a little bit more. But you also need to be into food. You really need to understand and enjoy your food to be able to take the full journey from the wild animal, select the wild animal, cull it properly, clean and prepare it properly, and then take it. And for me, it's a fantastic journey and a celebration of the wild animal, that it actually gets to be treated humanely and respectfully all the way, and then given to guys like Dale, who will do a fantastic job with it. They just put the icing on the cake, and for me that's, total justification for an animal that it is necessary for a number of them to be culled. Okay, we don't kill any more deer a year in any particular area we're asked to manage than is totally necessary. Okay, so it is all sustainable. But that comes through years of experience and understanding, not just like a lot of people just have the will to want to shoot for sport kind of thing, and it's not really the way that I looked at it. For me, it's always a primary source of food, but I wanted, obviously, the food that I'm going to eat to be the best food, and now all I'm doing is passing the message on and the learnings that I've had over all the years. And the nice thing about it is the chefs agree with me.
Fantastic, thank you very much for the moment. Okay, Dale, if you can talk us through what's going on over here then.
Yeah, I'm just going to give you a taster of the chocolate's done. Unfortunately, I can't do that here because it's like a overnight job, maybe a bit longer. It's the bones that we reduce down.
Oh, I see. So this is the stock.
This is the stock.
That's the stock. Okay, from the venison bones. Yeah. And so.
And basically, I've just over a bain marie, just dropped down the chocolate and brought it down to the right temperature.
What chocolate then?
Dark chocolate.
Dark chocolate.
Yeah, bitter. Yeah.
Ooh.
Which is married with the jus, which basically is a stock. And we add breadcrumb jelly and bits and pieces, and you don't need a lot. I'm just going to finish that. That's the smaller fillet that Simon was talking about. I'm just going to finish that with a bit of butter and then serve it with chocolate sauce.
Okay, lovely. So did you put any seasoning in this?
No, no, it's all. That's all. It's all just before we add any red currant or wine or etc. in the stock. It's just pure flavour from the meat with the vegetables in there, and it's just simmers for. The longer the better, and then we drain all that off and then we juice it right down.
Lovely, so that literally is just stock and some dark chocolate in there. Fantastic.
Oh.
Is that supposed to happen?
Yeah, it's a bit of theatre.
Okay, very impressive.
Get a pan hot chocolate.
So if you've just joined us, good afternoon and welcome along to the Cornwall Food and Drink Festival. This is a demonstration by Dale McIntosh from the Norway Inn at Perranawardle, and Deerstalker here, Simon, who's worked with Dale for a number of years here. We've got Tom ably assisting here, and Rod here, the restaurant manager, as well. So it's a real team effort up here. For 34 years! But, oh, that's good. He says it's better now than it's ever been, so that's an accolade in itself. So brilliant. How long have you actually been there, Dale?
3 months.
You're joking, just 3 months? Well, you've obviously made a massive impression in a short time.
It's work in progress. It's, like I say, it's famous for the carvery, and that was my first aim to improve it, is the polite word, I think. And bring the old customers back in, and that's what we're trying to do.
Fantastic, and so far so good. Really.
So far so good, yeah.
So when you go to work at a new place as a chef,
it's horrible.
Is it horrible? Yeah. In what way?
Trying to be polite really. It's staff setting their ways, someone new coming in, especially at my level, to try and get them to work the way I want to work is not always. People don't really, and it's not just in Norway, it's everywhere I've been to drafted in to improve things. It's difficult. It's a battle, but I've beaten everyone everywhere I've been, so I'm still fighting this one.
Oh, well done. That's really good.
But it's not that bad.
Okay, good. Well, also, do you think that, is it easy to kind of try and stamp your own mark on a restaurant that you've just joined? Because presumably you want to try out new recipes and new ideas. That must be quite difficult.
Really difficult, because, again, it's not only staff, it's people that go in there for that and what they enjoy, and it's not what I do as such. And trying to change it, people don't like it. They don't like change. they like their well done beef, and they want it every week, and they don't like butter on their vegetables. That's my mother-in-law, she's terrible to work with. It's customers as well. It's really hard to change the direction, if you like. But
it's a challenge.
It's a challenge. Yeah.
Challenge, good. Oh, well done. Right, so
we're
that's
just letting that
fine.
meat rest, because it's like anything. If you threw you in the oven, you're going to go tight, and just let the muscle rest. And then I'll just serve that with that. We've got about 15 minutes left, and I'll carry on with the end dish, and then we're at the end.
Fantastic. So what's the next step over here then?
I'm just letting that rest, and then I'm going to put the chocolate with it, and then everyone can try that. And then I'm going to go into the main dish, which is the cream of the cup, really, and finish with the main dish.
Fantastic. So lots still to come, really. That's great news. Any more questions at the moment?
Are you restricted where you can stalk the deer, or can you go anywhere where you think wild deer may be?
Good question.
Is it possible that you could go out one day stalking and come back without anything?
Very regularly. First question first, remind me of the questions. The first question first, can I go anywhere? I can legally go anywhere the landowner gives me permission, but only on the basis that I've been licensed by the police authorities to carry and use and discharge a legal caliber deer rifle. Okay? One thing, I'll just leave that, please remind me of the question, but one thing I will do, and this is a good question, any more mugs left or not? Because this is a good
We've
question.
got loads of mugs
Right,
left,
this
yes.
is a really good mug question. Who owns wild deer? She doesn't.
Nobody does.
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh no, yes, yes.
No one, yeah, correct. No one owns wild deer. Let me give you a scenario. One of you have given me legal permission to shoot deer on your land. Shoot the deer, he makes 3 little hops through the hedge just at the point that it's been shot, and it ends up on next doors. Who owns it then?
Next door, maybe.
Next door only. And if I was to go and get it, it's theft, trespass, and if I take my rifle with me, it's armed trespass and theft. So, yeah, you've got to be very, very careful. But I did ask a guy once, and he said, I do a lot of deer stalking. I said, you really? Yeah. I said, well, where do you go? How much ground have you got? He said, all of Cornwall at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, but on the serious side, yeah, I mean, you know, if somebody needs to give me permission to shoot on their land, then yes, I could shoot the deer there. Generally how it works is that, you know, we go, we assess it, we look if there's a realistic deer problem, and the best way to manage it. Different deer are managed in different ways. Red deer roam in herds, very destructive, can travel up to 25 miles a night. Fallow deer, pretty similar. Roe deer, the one that I was cutting up, small roe deer, that's a roebuck. And basically they live in a little territory, they're territorial, they have a little area, and that one will have lived all his life, probably in a 750 metre radius. The management programme for culling those is not a case of complete eradication if someone's getting a problem with them eating all their plants, all their flowers and so forth. What you do is you leave a stand-buck, the master buck, you leave him there, the buck that's sort of won all the fights, you leave him there and he'll keep all the others away. He'll have his small family and you've got to accept the damage that'll do. If you shoot the buck that's the stand-buck, in come 2 more bucks and bring their lot. So you've actually created more of a problem for the people that you're supposed to be managing the land for. Now, there's deer management and there's deer management. Are you managing it for the landowner or are you managing it for yourself? And these are the issues. Okay? Do we ever come back without one? Very regularly. Very, very regularly. Purely because we're very disciplined in what we do. We often see deer that we could quite clearly kill if we needed to, if we wanted to, if we thought, you know, but if it's not the right animal, we won't take it. Because in a way, we're getting to know all of the animals, you know, within our given management areas and within our cull program, we're getting to know them. But what we're doing almost in a way is farming the wild. You know, we're understanding how they live their life each year, and then taking the ones out that we need to do. With the bigger deer, we use what we call a Hoffman pyramid. So we draw a triangle. We've got the young yearlings, middle aged, and old, and we take a slice off, and we take an appropriate number out of each of those categories, and then next year it'll go back.
Okay, great question. Thank you very much. Well answered. Very impressive. Thank you. Okay, Dale, what's happening now then? This is the main part of the
Yeah, I'm
meal.
going into the main dish, which is apple blackberry jus with fondant potato and the loin served with forage flowers, sorry.
Wonderful. And you've got, are these potato cakes?
They're fondant potatoes. They've just been cooked for a long time in their own juices with cream and butter and really bad for you, but tastes really good.
Oh, I can imagine. So literally like mashed potato.
No, it's a normal potato. Level it off the inside,
nice.
over it goes, and you've got a ring cutter, and you make the shape, and then you just slowly cook them for like over an hour till all the juices have gone, and they're in there now.
Wonderful.
It's a phosphorated potato.
Well, they look fantastic. They really do. And you've got Braeburn apples in there.
I've just sent that out. If anyone got a chance to eat it, that's the chocolate sauce on there.
That looks lovely. Really nice. Actually, can I ask for some verdicts of anybody who's tried the chocolate sauce?
Melts in your mouth and there's a nasturtium.
I've never had a nasturtium before. Was it sweet?
Yes, it was.
Fantastic. Okay then, wonderful. Thank you very much. Oh, now, yes, you are actually Dale's mother-in-law, but you're not at all biased, are you?
Not at all.
Not at all biased, no. Okay, lovely. You're ever so lucky then, having Dale as your son-in-law. Does he treat you to lots of Sunday lunches and things? Does he come and cook?
The second time I met him, he did a barbecue gooch with fresh apple stuffed with lime, coriander, and I just had enough of him. Beautiful.
Oh dear.
That's fantastic. Wonderful, thank you. Hello, did you have a question, little lad, earlier? I saw a little one with a hand up. No. Did anybody else have a hand up over here?
We have the answer for the carver.
Oh, well done, I'll get you a mug then. Yes, would you like a chicken or a tractor? Tractor then. Shall we have a tractor?
Yeah.
Come on then. Pleasure. Okay, lovely. Any more samplers who's had the venison with the chocolate sauce? If you'd like to give me your verdict on it. Thank you.
It was absolutely lovely. Never tried venison before, but I'm a true convert now.
What was the chocolate sauce like with it? Because that's an unusual combination.
It just added that element of sweetness. You can't really taste the chocolate as such, but it was just an element of sweetness, which is lovely.
Fantastic. Okay, lovely. Thank you very much. That's great. Well, so far so good. The verdict is excellent here. What are you doing now then, Dale?
I'm just bringing this dish together really. This is the stock that I'm just because of the gelatin in the bones, it sets. So you just draw that through and bring it back down, and just literally pulling it all together. Simon's just going to get a braid and he's going to cook a little bit there. We can give a bit more out.
Fantastic. So you're just frying these Braeburn apple slices in butter?
Yeah, a little bit of butter, yeah.
A little bit of butter there.
Just to soften them through.
Any reason why you're using Braeburns and not brownies?
It's what they sent me this morning.
Okay.
Honest answer.
I'm sure. That's an honest answer,
Yeah.
but they're going to be lovely, aren't they? And just frying, what piece of venison is this?
That's through the centre, that's the loin, that's the best bit really. And we'll present it there and everyone can have a try.
Wonderful. This is great this afternoon. Loads of samples and lots of treats for everybody. Thank you. Brilliant stuff. So, roughly how long will it take you to fry this piece of loin then?
4 minutes, 5 minutes, not very long at all. It doesn't go in the oven. I will take the apples out soon, drop some more butter in and just nappe the butter over the top, which just keeps pushing the heat onto it, which will cook it through and then again let it rest and then I'll slice it up and away we go.
Okay, wonderful. That's great.
Yes.
Right, so, are you going to add the blackberries? Are you going
I'm going to warm them through, which the flavours come out in the sauce. So this sauce is a base sauce, so you can use it for lots of different stuff. You can put tomatoes in there, you can, whether you've got tomato jus, you can, anything you like really. It just infuses a little bit of flavour from that base stock, bringing out the flavour of a fruit, which I'm going to do today. And they will break down, they go a lot smaller.
smells really, really lovely. You can probably begin to smell a bit of the aroma now coming along. But if you've just joined us, Dan was saying that venison goes particularly well with fruit. Are there any other meats that work really well with fruit?
Lots of games works well with fruit, really. You know, as again we're into autumn, all different kinds of birds. It works really well. I think now this venison with these, especially black with dark fruits, it really enhances the flavour.
Fantastic, lovely, thank you. How are you getting on over here? It's looking all right. You're taking your lead from Dale there.
This needs very, very little cooking, so we'll just rest this in a minute and then.
Wonderful, and this will be more for the chocolate sauce, possible.
If you are cooking at home, there's a nice little tip that as a chef, you touch the meat and touch fish. And what they always taught me at college was if you bring your thumb and your index finger together, not pressing, just bring them together and push that bit, you've got yourself rare. When you get to your small finger, it's well done, and you can tell. So when you push a chicken breast, if you get that, it's 90%, 91% it's done. So that tells me. Same as fish, it's the springiness. So if you go into the middle, you've got medium.
That is a fantastic tip. I've never heard of that before. Did anybody not get that? Would you like to hear that again? A fantastic tip as to how to cook meat. Yeah. Basically, your thumb and your forefinger, then you press that part, and that will be.
The first one's red, but not with a pinch. Pinch is always well done. It's just literally relax and bring it together, and you've got that. Oh, Mr. Ramsay does it with his face, so his forehead's well done.
Fantastic. It's really good, isn't it? I suppose that's the sort of knowledge that you can only acquire after many years, in the trade room.
Yeah, it's every day you just pick things. I learn from everyone, right? I never stop learning. That's why I'm still doing it.
And how are you going to cook this? Medium rare, well done?
Just over rare, medium.
Medium rare.
But if you want it well done, it's not worth eating. You know, the flavour's gone, it's chewy, it's unless different cuts. This you wouldn't do that. Different cuts you can make a casserole and stew, and it's different. So that's understanding the different kind of cuts that we use. So, but this is for today we're using the best.
Lovely. That's great. Can I just ask, because we're getting into autumn winter time now, venison stew, that is a lovely recipe. What's a really good way of cooking venison stew?
Lots of root vegetables, seal it off in a pan. If you flash it with flour first, it thickens your sauce. A good red wine, a little bit of pork maybe, juniper berries are good, and star anise is another good one, and just the longer you leave it the better. So slow cooker, but when you go to work, put it all in, come home in the evening, the house smells lovely, and dinner's ready.
Sounds really nice, lovely stuff. Thank you very much. Okay, Tom's still working well over there. Simon, how are you getting on?
Good. Just resting those bits now. If I can just take a minute just to explain some of these. Can you actually see that on top of there? That's a whole haunch of venison. When people talk about a haunch of venison, that's rolled and bone. So that would have started life looking something like this. The shin is completely removed, the centre bone is taken out, and then it's rolled. This is the sort of joint that Dale's doing at the carvery at the Norway. So it's a premium piece of wild venison. You're slow cooking these, very, very slow cooking these, aren't you?
I've got a wonderful oven that does it overnight, so I put it in the evening and it just pumps steam over it all night.
With me at home, with whole haunches either on the bone or like this, I'll put them in the bottom left of the armour and I'll leave them in there for 6 to 9 hours. Now, I find that slow cooking it. Before this is tied up, you can obviously stuff it with whatever you want. If you want to season it on the inside, you can do that. Otherwise, you've just got the natural meat flavours, which is fantastic, and slow cook it. If you're going to do these sort of things at home, this is a wonderful substitute for turkey at Christmas. Great meat, different from beef, and certainly New Year. New Year seems to be, really popular for joints like these. Just talk about things that go with it. Roasted beetroot is a lovely one that goes with venison, and also braised cabbage. So braised red cabbage with, obviously sugar, water, butter. Again, as Dale said, a little bit of star anise, just one bit of star anise. Make sure you take it out though. And yeah, wonderful colours. You've got all those purples together, you know. So a lot for me is, you know, when I'm playing around at home with the food, you know, I look to try and sort of finish off and sort of make it look nice when I finished it, rather than just dollop it on the plate. But you know, purple colours, they look good and they work well with all your venison.
Fantastic, thank you. Really good advice and tips there. And this is bubbling away nicely, this stock there. Sorry, no, it's looking lovely. Dale's just put some of the lovely, great big fat blackberries in there. And if you can't see on the cameras there, he's just slicing off this venison, which looks amazing, it really does. Completely medium, is that medium, did you say? Yeah.
Medium rare.
Medium
It's
rare.
still nice and pink through the middle.
Fantastic. It looks so lovely and tender and lean. And just slicing up the apples there. And presenting it. Presentation is a massive part of the chef's life really now, isn't it? You have to kind of make sure that although the food is beautifully cooked, it's got to look good as well.
Yeah, definitely.
It looks fantastic. There we are. Does this have a special name, Dale?
One I done last night.
Alright, well I guess just venison with...
Yeah, venison, fond potato, sautéed apple and blackberry jus, with some forage flowers just to give it a little bit of colour.
Looks amazing, and it's coming your way in a minute, which is brilliant.
There we go.
That is absolutely fantastic, and I can see what you mean about the flowers there, the nasturtiums and the borage there. Incredible, the colours there. A really nice autumnal dish. So fantastic. Are there any questions for Dale or Simon at the moment?
No, leave it there.
I mean, that for me is a wonderful end to the journey of the wild animal. I mean, when it's given the respect that Dale's just given that and the presentation, I mean, that truly is, you know, makes everything that I do really worthwhile.
It really does look phenomenal. So very well done. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
That is absolutely brilliant. Ladies and gentlemen, Dale McIntosh from the Norwegian and Simon Wilkins. Fantastic. And yeah, I know that Dale would love for you to have a sample of this. So I guess there are some knives and forks here for anybody to sort of come up in an orderly fashion, please, and just have a bit of a sample of this incredible dish there. Thank you very much.
Enjoy that? Smash it.
This is a really great experience for me. I'm doing media.
All right.
Yeah.
Take all the dirty stuff.
This is chocolate sauce.
In case any of it's hot.
I thought this was chocolate sauce.
Well done.
That's lovely. One fork is enough for both of us.
Yeah.
Very nicely done. Nice and nice. How are you? Managed to get in and see it. It's all right. The rest of it, you managed to give them a bit of education on down the front. Get Rolf done.
Good dear. Drop the blackcurrant. Never mind when you're stepping.
It's not that long, it's a little bowl. Super cold, bring it out for me. Is anyone on there, is there? Is anyone coming on? Yeah, I just found the package.
Where's your other dirty cutlery go?
Just in there. There's some more on there. There you go.
burger. Is that the
Wasn't missing last year.
Something nice. Boration.
Hey, venison! That's pretty ultimate.
Last bit.
I have, yes. Have you got a business card? I've got one. Yeah, it's on the website. There's no minimum quantity if you want to pick it up.
Wow. That was certainly interesting. You certainly are. Wow.